And you said, I may have a desire to sleep with many women, but I do not.
I agree with me. Yes, that's true.
Congratulations on your,
It seems that Democrats on this committee, sort of like Peter Pan and Tinkerbell, if they say Project 2025 enough, their presidential candidate becomes alive again.
And so you want taxpayer money spent wisely?
I do. Congrats on becoming a Republican.
Yeah. Yeah. My parents would be proud. Mass deportations, it calls for that. Do you support that part?
I support the deportation of any illegal immigrant who's in the United States who is not of benefit to the generalized American public.
So if they're picking agriculture that puts food on the tables of everyday Americans, they've never committed a crime inside the United States, they didn't come across with documents, should they be deported?
If they have not paid taxes and if their draw on the taxpayer benefits are larger than the contribution they are making to the economy, or if they're involved in criminal activity, they should be deported.
How do we measure that?
The same way that the IRS measures my income every year. It seems like if the IRS can track down every aspect of every receipt that I've ever submitted, and
So
they can do so for hundreds of millions of other Americans, they can do that for illegal immigrants as well, except for the fact that no one knows how many are in the country thanks to this administration.
So you would be cool with creating a system where they could pay those taxes if they wanted to and then stay and work and put food on our table?
It depends on how long it would take for them to pay the taxes, and they would also have to go presumably to the back of the line, although I'm not sure why I'm testifying about immigration policy at this point.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Look, we've all watched congressional hearings turn into complete circuses over the last few years. But what you're about to see in this clip is a masterclass in how to deal with a setup. Congressman Eric Swalwell came into this room thinking he was going to pin Ben Shapiro to the wall with a quick lightning round of partisan talking points. He dropped the ultimate media buzzword, Project 2025, expecting Ben to either panic or blindly take the bait. Instead, what happened was a textbook lesson in the difference between politician talking points and grounded policy logic. Whether you agree with Ben on every single issue or not, you have to respect how easily he dismantled Swalwell's entire strategy simply by separating political sound bites from real constitutional principles. Before we jump into the full video, if you appreciate honest political commentary and breakdowns like this, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Drop a comment below with your thoughts as we go. Now let's roll the full clip.
Mr. Swalwell.
Thank you. Mr. Shapiro, thank you for joining us today. I think it is important that you're here as one of the leading conservative voices in the country. And the country has, in the last couple weeks, talked a lot about and Googled Project 2025. It's one of the most Googled search terms right now. And you're not going to get any censorship from me. So I just wanted to know, from your perspective, I think it would help us understand on just like a scale of 0 to 100%, how much do you support Project 2025?
I think, like President Trump, I haven't looked all that deeply at Project 2025, but it seems that Democrats on this committee, sort of like Peter Pan and Tinkerbell, if they say Project 2025 enough, their presidential candidate becomes alive again.
And so, well, let's just talk about pieces of it, and I guess you can tell me if you support it. You probably want less bureaucracy, right?
I do.
I want less bureaucracy. You want more efficiency?
I do.
I want more efficiency. You want taxpayer money spent wisely?
I do. Congrats on becoming a Republican.
Yeah. Yeah. My parents would be proud. Mass deportations, it calls for that. Do you support that part?
I support the deportation of any illegal immigrant who's in the United States who is not of benefit to the generalized American public.
So if they're picking agriculture that puts food on the tables of everyday Americans, they've never committed a crime inside the United States, they didn't come across with documents, should they be deported?
If they have not paid taxes and if their draw on the taxpayer benefits are larger than the contribution they are making to the economy, or if they're involved in criminal activity, they should be deported.
How do we measure that?
The same way that the IRS measures my income every year. It seems like if the IRS can track down every aspect of every receipt that I've ever submitted, and they can do so for hundreds of millions of other Americans, they can do that for illegal immigrants as well, except for the fact that no one knows how many are in the country thanks to this administration.
So you would be cool with creating a system where they could pay those taxes if they wanted to and then stay and work and put food on our table?
It depends on how long it would take for them to pay the taxes, and they would also have to go presumably to the back of the line, although I'm not sure why I'm testifying about immigration policy at this point.
How about banning the abortion pill? That's part of Project 2025. Do you support that part?
I think that that's a state-by-state issue on a personal level.
I'm just asking you.
Sure, I'm a fully pro-life person, which means that I'm not in favor of the distribution of the abortion pill.
Banning same-sex marriage, what about that part?
I am in favor of traditional marriage between a man and a woman, and I'm perfectly fine with anyone having any sort of voluntary sexual arrangement they seek. That's a different thing from whether the government should attach benefits to that personal relationship.
But you think it's a sin to have same-sex marriage?
I mean, I'm confused. Are you asking me as a religious Jew what I think about biblically?
I'm just asking, is it a sin to be gay?
Is it a sin to be gay? I mean, how long do we have here? 2 minutes? I mean, if the basic idea is that sexual orientation is up for government regulation, I'm not in favor of the government regulating the private consenting sexual activity of adults. That is a different thing, once again, from whether the government ought to engage in actual benefits for particular sexual arrangements that adults make.
But again, just you to me, is it a sin or not?
From a religious Jewish perspective, orientation is not a sin, but activity is. That's also the same perspective of most major religions, so far as I'm aware.
Okay. And how about cutting Social Security? Do you support that part of 2025?
I'm not sure what Project 2025's position on Social Security is. I'm in favor of the restructuring of Social Security along the lines of privatization and lowering and increasing the retirement age, because you, as well as every other congressperson, knows Social Security is going to go bankrupt, and yet everyone seems to have an interest in lying about it for the next decade and a half until we have to take austerity measures or radically increase inflation or taxes.
And bans against books about slavery. Do you support that part about?
Why would I possibly be in favor of bans about books about slavery? That would be absolutely ridiculous. What I am in favor of is the idea that school libraries should be able to make decisions along the lines of what exactly is appropriate for, say, a seventh grader and whether they ought to be treated to cartoons and genderqueer. That's not quite the same thing.
And just because we found some receipts, you did say, I think homosexual activity is a sin.
Yes, I'm a religious Jew, that's true.
There's a genetic component.
You found me out.
Orientation. But the view of all religious people I know has always been that sexual behavior is something that is up to you. And you said, I may have a desire to sleep with many women, but I do not.
I agree with me. Yes, that's true.
Congratulations on your, I'm sure it's very hard to restrain yourself. Mr. Chairman, I just want to shift to Alvin Bragg. He was supposed to be here this week, and he's not coming. And Hunter Biden was supposed to testify. Now he's not testifying. We were supposed to have votes on articles of impeachment, and we didn't. And again, we're just wondering, you guys write great press releases, but the payoff seems to never come. And so I guess we will keep waiting, and we'll do hearings like this. And finally, Chairman, you cannot yell fire in a crowded theater, and that's a restriction on speech, as you have recognized before. But you can yell theater in a crowded fire, and you all can continue to do that all you want, and we'll just waste the American people's time.
Gentleman's time has expired, and I remind him of the first rule of holes. When you're in one, stop digging. Chair recognizes.
All right. Let's break down what just happened there, because there's so much to unpack in that exchange. First off, notice Swalwell's opening move. He asks Ben for a 0 to 100% rating on Project 2025. That's a classic political trap. In modern media, if you say you agree with any part of a 900-page document, the headline reads, Shapiro endorses extreme agenda. If you say 0, they call you a hypocrite for supporting conservative judicial nominees or tax cuts. Ben didn't fall for it at all. He immediately pointed out that basic ideas like reducing red tape, cutting waste, and spending tax dollars responsibly aren't some secret radical plot. They're just standard conservative principles. When Swalwell tried to turn less bureaucracy into a gotcha, Ben's quick response, congrats on becoming a Republican, completely deflated the tension. Then came the pivot to illegal immigration. Swalwell tried to paint a scenario where deporting illegal immigrants hurts everyday Americans by removing workers. But look at how Ben handled that. He didn't just give a blunt slogan. He anchored his answer in basic fiscal accountability. If an individual isn't paying taxes, is taking more from public benefits than they contribute, or has committed crimes, law enforcement should apply. And his point about the IRS was spot on. If the federal government has the tools to track every single receipt of an American citizen, claiming we can't track border enforcement is just a lack of political will. Where Swalwell really lost his momentum, though, was when he tried to get into theology. He started grilling Ben on his personal religious beliefs regarding marriage and sin. That was a huge misstep. Ben immediately drew a clear, libertarian-leaning constitutional boundary. What a person believes religiously as an Orthodox Jew is separate from what the federal government should regulate between consenting adults. Government shouldn't be in the business of policing adult relationships, but that doesn't mean the state has an obligation to subsidize every arrangement equally. Swalwell was trying to score cheap Twitter clips on identity politics, but Ben kept pulling the conversation back to the actual limits of federal power. The same thing happened on Social Security and book selections in schools. When Swalwell brought up Social Security, Ben stated the plain reality that both parties usually refuse to admit on camera. The system is heading toward insolvency, and ignoring it only guarantees painful austerity or massive inflation later. And on the school issue, Ben made the vital distinction that deciding what is age appropriate for a 7th grader in a local school library isn't a totalitarian book ban. It's standard community governance. By the end of the 5 minutes, Swalwell completely ran out of talking points and had to pivot to ranting about unrelated court cases just to burn off his remaining time. That's why Jim Jordan's line at the end hit so hard. When you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. This exchange was a perfect example of why sound logic and clear principles will win over theatrical sound bites every single time. Let me know in the comments below. What did you think of Ben's response to the Project 2025 questions? Did Swalwell make any solid points, or was this purely political theater? Let's talk about it down below. Don't forget to leave a like, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.